You're breathtaking. Hey, bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your
Hi, hello, kings and queens and everything in betweens, to the G Spot podcast. This, I believe, is the sixth episode, and as we all know, the G in G Spot does not stand for Griffenberg, but rather it stands for who will be the solution to global warming, gamers. So, a lot to talk about today, and I may or may not be high as of this recording. And I'm just gonna tell you what happened a little bit before I start recording this episode, and you can judge for yourself if I'm indeed high. So this morning, when I woke up and watched the news and stuff like that, I saw a story that I wanted to talk about on today's episode, and then I went out to buy some stuff. Could be stuff related to me getting high, and then came back home, fucked around for a while, and then I came back to my PC to record this episode. I was like, oh, what was that story that I want to talk about? Because I didn't put it in talking points immediately. And so I opened Google Chrome, and I was like, well, it's somewhere in my, search history. So I'll just go find it there. So I opened, not Chrome, I don't use Chrome, Opera GX, because I'm a gamer. And in case you didn't know, the G in Opera GX does not stand for gamer, but rather it stands for Griffenberg. But so I opened, my browser, whatever it might be, and normally you would just click Control H. So, a new panel of your history shows up. And I didn't do that. What I did instead is that I went to Google, and I Googled the word history, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Because what showed up was, like definition of a history and stuff like that. So I was generally confused in that moment about what the hell I'm looking at. And so my next solution was, I was like, oh shit, I fucked, brain fart alert, Control H, and I got my history. And then in the history, I typed in the history search bar, which when you search in it, it shows you things from your history. I typed history, and then it just showed me the last Google search that I fucking made, which was just the word history. And then what did I did something dumb afterwards also, but I can't remember. I think I deleted history naturally. I did, white people, am I right? Deleting it's fine. Fuck. All right, so where was I? I don't remember. Anyways, the story was about Blizzard. I finally found it, but they just to conclude this rant or fucking tangent, whatever. So we got our talking points here. We got our coffee. So sipping on some coffee, and let's get into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is Meta is suing a company for data scrapping. Let me read that again. Meta, ex Facebook, is suing a company for data scrapping, which is practically stealing data. Let me read that again. Meta, the company that used to be known as Facebook, the company that's been caught stealing people's data for, years, and after they've been caught, they were like, all right, we won't use your words. We won't do that again. And they did, and then they got caught, and they were like, all right, you got us, second time, first strike, shit, first, fuck, I'm blanking out. First, you tricked me once, shame on you. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, strike three. Okay, so all right. Let me get back to what I was saying. Meta is suing Meta is suing a company for data scrapping. Now, if you don't know what data scrapping is, it is basically like the process of. All right, so these companies, or like the ones that do data scrapping, they just go to your profile, so where you have things public, like you set them or you publish them and stuff like that, and they collect that data to sort of like try to guess, uh, who you are. So, what would you buy, and then they would sell that data to advertisers, and those advertisers would advertise things to you. Now, again, Facebook has been doing this for a while. That's but it's like in their terms and conditions. You basically, when you fast click that, I read the terms and conditions, and you just skip to the next thing. To create your burner account in order to join and talk about your furry kink in peace without the knowledge of your friends and family. You just do that, and when you do that, you agree with Facebook that they can collect your data as long as you're using this website for free. That's basically it. The old saying, if you're not paying for something, you're the product. And so these data data scrapping companies, they are doing what Meta does in basically a lesser form in terms of like how much data they can collect, because Meta collects everything, fucking everything. And so the data scrapping company, they just take what you've publicly made available. And so Facebook didn't like that, and they were like, yeah, we're gonna sue you for this. And by the way, these data scrapping companies, I think they came into the attention of Meta because there's like a new bot, or they developed a new bot or something, like AI based thingy to effectively scan like the entire profile, whatever, like in a way that's way better than the technology that they had before to collect people's data. And by the way, this is fucking shitty on both sides of Meta and whichever these data scrapping companies are, because it's people's data and you're collecting them without their knowledge and then selling it without their knowledge to advertisers without their knowledge. And so those advertisers would advertise things to these people and persuade them to participate more in the shitty fucking consumer world that we live in. So it's bullshit, and Meta and these data scrapping companies can go fuck themselves. In other news, recently Ubisoft is in deep shit. Well, it's not recent actually. When I think about it, like Ubisoft has been in deep shit for a while, because Ubisoft has basically just changed its business model to from creating original IPs and like basically these franchises that they had, Assassin's Creed, anything with Tom Clancy's tag on it, fucking Ghost Recon, Splinter Cell, stuff like that. And they had like Prince of Persia, fucking, they had a lot of titles, and they had a lot of franchises. They were successful. And then Ubisoft basically took a look at the fucking, what's trending. People are into hero shooters. Well, take what did they do? I think whatever. They just take another like successful franchise. This is not what happened, but just for a sense of sounding a bit hyperbole. Like, all right, people like hero shooters. Let's make a hero shooter in with like try to fucking shove it in the lore of Assassin's Creed. People like those like shooting games 5 to 5 competitive Counter-Strike type shit. And so what we'll do is we're gonna take Tom Clancy's word and then like build a shitty game inside of it. And people like Battle Royale. Okay, again, Tom Clancy's, or I think it was Ghost Recon, and they kind of like made like a shitty ass. I don't even think it got released. It was like heavily bullied on the internet. Anyways, for Ubisoft just completely forgot, just let go of its core appeal to gamers, and just basically started following these trends and doing it late, doing it in a copy paste type shit, like not even bringing something new to the table, and using established franchises that people love and adore, and when they see their name, their eyes glow up and like, oh, we have a new fucking Ghost Recon or whatever, and then they see this shallow, nothing of a burger, fucking just abomination being used as the title for what they usually expect, what they usually like. And so yeah, Ubisoft has been losing its connection with gamers for a while now, and it's catching up in a bad way. They delayed one of their like games, I think it's Skull and Bones, and this is the 6th delay. Like this is they delayed this shit 6 times to I think they had like a problem with I forgot. Anyways, they kind of realized that the game is not gonna make money as much as they want their sales to be, but they're stuck in some sort of like a deal, and so it's like it's a cycle of, we need to release this, we can't release it now because it can make money, but we have to work more on it, and when working more on it means you spend more money on it, but that money is not going to be recouped, I think is a word. And so yeah, they're fucked basically. They did the projection to their financial outlook, which basically means like how much money they think they're gonna make, and was down by 10% from their previous year or previous quarter or whatever, which also was less than the previous one. And it's just it's there's like a downward path that Ubisoft is taking in terms of like financial gain. And when people saw this, obviously people who like have stocks and bought shares in Ubisoft, when they see that the company is going to make 10% less money, or they think they're going to make that less money, obviously they would freak out, and so they would sell those shares, and because of that the stock went down by 21%. So yeah, Ubisoft now is just basically just spreading their ass, hoping for some bigger company to buy them out, and maybe that would happen. Who knows? Like the deal of Activision, Microsoft Activision is probably not gonna go through, and Ubisoft could be more acquirable studio for Microsoft, so they could do that. Or Sony would take those franchises and sort of like hold them hostage in case Xbox goes rogue and start not releasing titles like Call of Duty and Candy Crush or whatever the fuck Activision has to the Sony platforms. That if the deal actually goes through, which I don't think it's going to. So Ubisoft is in deep shit. It's they did this. It wasn't anything but their fault. And when I say their fault, I mean the executives and stuff, the suits. Because the developers, I still believe like the developers are people who are passionate about their work and they want to make good games, but the suits are the ones that have the final decision, which is unfortunate. And when they see something making money somewhere else, they're like, well, we should be doing that to make money over here. So yeah, Ubisoft is fucked it. What did I do this week? I watched the Last of Us show, the first episode. I thought it was fantastic. Uh, a couple of complaints, but it's nothing big. Overall, the show is very good. I was very happy with how they approach this adaptation, but it's only the first episode. We don't know how this is gonna go. I think it's 10 episode per season, so maybe like there's 9 episodes left, and that's plenty of time to fuck up. I mean, just look at fucking Game of Thrones, right? Anyways, at the start they had like this cool intro. Basically, it's like 2 scientists on some sort of like talk show or whatever, and they're talking, and one of them is like, well, the problem that we're gonna face in the future or whatever, like, so it's gonna be viruses are very small. They can duplicate inside like the body of the host, yada yada yada. And yeah, viruses are gonna be a problem. And then the other scientist is like, I think fungi is gonna be a big problem. And he cites an example from an actual fungus that exists in the world, but um it affects ants, and the only reason it can't affect humans because our body temperature is hot. So yeah, and the fungus is not adapt to that kind of hot temperature. It's harder than where it can develop. So, and then the scientist, one of the scientist, the other scientist points this out, and the response is, well, what if the planet got hotter? And this interview is supposedly set in like 1964 or whatever, right? So, and he says, what if the planet gets hotter? Which it is, unless you're a climate denier and you don't possess more than 5 functioning brain cells. And that hit close to me because I thought it was very cool. I thought it was very good that they related that to actual biology that exists, and then actual like world events. Like, what if the planet got hotter and it's getting hotter, and if it does, those funguses can adapt to living at higher temperatures through mutations and stuff, and so it would be able to affect humans the same way it affects ants. And I thought that was very good. Then they had like, after the intro, they had like a sort of like an introduction phase of like Joel, who is as a person, and they did a very good job at that. They spent more than half an hour just exploring Joel and his daughter to really hammer down what kind of a father he is. So when he connects with Ellie and she becomes like his spiritual daughter in a sense, and her spiritual dad in a sense, it would make a lot of make sense, and just basically like nail it down, and it just the whole thing is cohesive and coherent because we know what kind of a father Joe is. And I thought that was very good that they took their time with exploring the character. The cast were all fantastic. uh Joel killed it. Pascal, he's a fantastic actor, and he did a great job at sort of like conveying how broken of a man Joel is. And they had like these little moments to show that, and they did a great job. Like, there was a scene where they were burning bodies, and Joel was carrying bodies with the help of a certain woman. And they were like, one of them carries from the hands and the other from the feet, and they throw them into this pit of fire. And then they came across this body of a child, and the woman just couldn't bear to throw a child in the fire, even though the corpse of a child in the fire. And so she was like, I can't. And Joel, like, without flinching, he just carried that body of that child, that corpse of that child, and just threw it in the fire without blinking. Which was like a moment like, this guy is, like, mentally fucked. And since they explored that relationship with his daughter in the first half, or the first third, because the episode is like 120 or something, they explored it so well that then, like, you can sort of see how the only thing that could evoke emotions of like love and stuff like that, it would be his daughter. And I guess Ellie would be, in a sense, his daughter, and that would, make him feel something again. They did a good job also with well, the other actors, the one that played sort of like his girlfriend, she did a fantastic job. Ellie, the kid from I already knew she's gonna be great because in I saw her in Game of Thrones and she was fantastic as a child. She is very talented and stuff, and so I was excited to see her in this show, and she did a fantastic job. Um, and just everyone all around. And then they had this moment at the end where Ellie sort of like opens a notebook that belongs to Joel, and it has like the codes of. I'm not gonna bother explaining this. Anyways, they just had this cool moment that they kind of teased, and then they used the song, and the song is from a certain era that fits whatever was in the notebook. Just watch the episode. It was great. The only complaints that I have is one I didn't particularly have myself, but my friend pointed it out, and I was like, yeah, this could bother people. Is in the first half they had a lot of cuts because they were sort of like trying to introduce everybody from the story, and so they were cutting from these two people having conversation to other people having conversation, completely new characters, and you sort of like, I guess it was kind of hard to follow at first. The second complaint is the fact that Ellie can be bit and not be affected and turned into one of those fungi zombies. Is that because she's special for whatever reason, but like when she showed the bite, they didn't spend a lot of time on that because it should have been a crucial moment. Like, why can't you turn? And it's like the core of the whole show. So they should have spent more time there with Joel and his girlfriend feeling betrayed, and maybe they try to kill her and then have like some sort of an argument, and then they don't. Whatever. They just kind of rushed through that whole period. But other than that, the show is fantastic. I'm very excited to see the rest of these episodes, and I hope to God they don't fuck it up. That's basically what I have to say about The Last of Us, and I'm gonna move on to the other thing. Killer segue. Apple is in the news. They had some announcements, fucking new chip or whatever, it's 6 times stronger. Who gives a shit? But in true Apple fashion, they couldn't help but to be in the news for also something that's super consumer. What's the word? Non-friendly. Excuse me. This fucking flu wouldn't go away. All right, so like I said, Apple also in the news, not for something good, but something kind of funny. They so this guy who bought an Apple TV, and he was greeted by a panel that says, you agree with the terms and services, and he asked the press, okay, to say that I agree with terms and services of using this TV, and so he tried to do that, but he couldn't because in order to do that, you'd need another Apple device at hand, and he didn't have that. He didn't have an iPod, iTouch, I fucking have intercourse with your mom, iPhone, nothing. He had nothing, and so he couldn't press OK on accepting terms and services. Apple just fucking assumed that everyone has more than just one Apple device in their at their disposal in their home, and they would be able to press OK on the terms and services. And if you go to buy an Apple TV, there's like a big panel. It's like, all you need is this, and then they show you a fucking box and whatever else. Like, they don't say that you need another Apple device that you can click on. So Apple can go fuck themselves. They also been fined actually in France because they were caught stealing their users' data and put it in their servers to use for advertising purposes. They weren't selling it to advertisers because they curate advertisers. At least that's what they say. But it's still they are collecting data of their users without their knowledge, and just because it's on your servers, Apple, doesn't mean that it's still in their phone and nothing, no elsewhere but their phone. So yeah, that's Apple for you. Always the fucking just like the worst. So uh War Thunder, this is actually another funny story. Apparently, like, the War Thunder community are notorious for the accuracy of their game. If you don't know, War Thunder is like it's basically a free to play game that's like based on vehicle combat, like planes, tanks, stuff like that. It's a multiplayer game published by Gaijin Entertainment, and they've been sort of like in that open beta phase for a while, where they just like continuously developing the game and making it more simulatey. And it's available everywhere, like PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox, PC. If you have an operating system on your fridge, you can basically play War Thunder. But like I said, their players are very adamant about the accuracy of the game, because the game features like actual fighter jets and tanks, like actual models and stuff, with their actual, like, a simulation of them basically. So the War Thunder players, they have been for a while just leaking fucking like top secret information about these vehicles. And recently they leaked the F-16 and AIM 120 missile details. They leaked them on the forum of developers to discuss like making the game more accurate. Like, what are you doing? I, Obviously these posts were taken down, and I'm just like amazed that this continuously happened, where these gamers are so fucking like in their head about their game that they just leak like government secrets on their forums to try to get developers to better their simulation of these secretive fucking god blueprints. It's amazing. The last thing that I want to talk about is Blizzard and NetEase, which is a story that I did like a Tarantino thing where I kind of talked about it first, and then I went through other stuff, and now coming back to conclude this. So Blizzard is not doing well with NetEase. They had a fight. I guess if you don't know what NetEase is for Blizzard, they're basically in China. In order for a foreign company to do work in China, they have to be assigned sort of like a company that makes sure that they follow the beautiful guidelines of motherland China, which primarily are about censorship. So NetEase owns the servers on which Blizzard World of Warcraft, the game, is played on in China. And so NetEase makes a lot of money from Blizzard by hosting their game on their servers, and Blizzard makes a lot of money by having such a large population play their game in China. And so it's beneficial for both. And as with all big business, they had a fight, presumably about money. And then the NetEase staff, they went out and smashed the statues of World of Warcraft, because that's the studio of Activision Blizzard. They're like famous for having large statues of their famous characters in the vicinity of their development studios. So they have these giant World of Warcraft statues outside. And the NetEase staff, there's like videos and stuff of them smashing these statues in like being bitter, like fuck you. And so yeah, this is not going well between them. They apparently also NetEase said there's like a lot of conflicting reports from both sides. Everyone's trying to sound like the good guy, and that it's not their fault. NetEase, I think they said like they offered us 6 months more, and while they're looking for other companies to do the same thing for them, and it's disrespectful. And they offered those companies deals of 3 years, 2 or 3 years, and they're just giving us 6 months. Yeah, it's fucked between these two companies. I mean, they can both go fuck themselves. Activision is never the good guys, and NetEase is a Chinese company that does the bidding of the Chinese firewall, so they can also go fuck themselves. That's about it for this episode. I don't know how long I've been recording, but doesn't matter. This has been me, presumably high, could be, who knows. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.